Grow, Sell, and Retire is the podcast for the lazy overachiever. B.D. Dalton, author of True Gravity and Grow, Sell, and Retire, is here to give you his 25 years of secrets, tips, and systems to take your business to the next level. This is your chance to find out what is working in sales, marketing, and running your business. If you stop learning, you stop earning. Now, here's your host, BD, with today's GSR podcast.
Hey everybody, BD Dalton here, Grow, Sell, and Retire podcast. This is my interview with Tom Fortes Mayer. He's going to walk us through some great things that we can do to change our mindset, to recharge, to reboot, to refocus. We're all dealing with high stress, and I think this one will help you out. My interview with Tom Fortes Mayer. Here it is. Sit back, grab a pen, and let's make things happen on your Grow, Sell, and Retire podcast. Welcome on the show, Tom.
Hi, thank you. Good to be here.
So today, I mean, we just went through Mental Health Week last week, or actually about 2 weeks ago now. Does success bring happiness?
Well, see, for me, if success and happiness really, the ultimate test of your success is happiness. If you're on about does financial wealth bring happiness, then not necessarily. Obviously, it's better to be depressed in comfortable surroundings, but no, success doesn't bring happiness. And very often people make the mistake of sacrificing their happiness on the basis that they will get success and then they can be happy. But if you sacrifice your happiness on the road to your success, then when you get to wherever you think you're going to be, you won't be happy. You'll be stressed and strained. That doesn't mean you can't reboot your happiness, but ideally you don't sacrifice your happiness to get to success. And success happens best when we're in a really good place.
And so to get to this really good place, and sometimes, I mean, life is life, like a roller coaster. You can be in a good place and have a bad day, can't you? And how do you? Absolutely. And how do you reboot in those? Or how do you find like these short reboots, not a full battery recharge, but yeah. What are some tools that you're using with your meditation and things like that are kind of quick reboots and not a full battery recharge? Yeah,
I think it's a good question. So, I say to people, it's less about having bad days and it's now more about having bad hours. One of the greatest signs of emotional intelligence is how quickly we can return to our baseline. So in exactly the same way that physical fitness is tested by how quickly can we return to our resting heart rate having been at our full heart rate. And emotional intelligence, which is a real foundation of success and happiness, is really about how quickly can we return to peace even though we've got really stressed out by an email or by a project going south or what have you. And so there's a whole range of tools that you can apply to enable you to keep things in perspective. There's what I call external things, which is all the good coaching stuff around accountability, being in integrity, coming from values, so that no matter how our projects go, we can still look at ourselves in the mirror and be proud of who we are. And then there's a whole range of internal things we can do that can mean that we can get back to peace more quickly.
Okay, so you're really good at this stuff, and I've gone through different projects with you and worked on some stuff myself. So if somebody's had a bad day, they've gone or they've received that email, but then they still have to go in and have that new client meeting or the big pitch later that day. What's a tool that I might be able to use if I was just at work or needed to have that break for a second to have that quick reboot? How can I, Okay,
so quick SOS stuff, right? Really quick stuff you can do. People often say, hey, just take some deep breaths. And you know what? That's really powerful to have a little kind of meditative moment, but it's actually more effective, first of all, to get the adrenaline or sadness kind of moving through you. So actually, a quick burst of energy. I mean, I have a kick bag up in my garden. If I have a difficult email or a challenging situation, I go outside and I wail on that kick bag for 30 seconds or a minute. And that, first of all, lets the adrenaline move through your system. And then you can maybe take a few minutes. And if you haven't got a kick bag, you can just run on the spot, like like a full-on high knees raised sprint where your heart rate gets completely maxed out, and then just allow your system to settle, because actually that adrenaline, that cortisol running through your system, that will stay with you. And when we've got a stress response, then we kind of perceive, there's this thing where if you stub your toe or you have a bad morning, then the rest of the day goes bad. What we want to do is get out of that kind of fight or flight response where we have a fear filter on our perception, which just makes everything strained. And if we go into meetings and we're trying to sell things or encourage people to invest with us or get people enrolled in a project, we might be smiling with our face, but our eyes will look stressed, and no one will buy into that.
And so as we're moving through this, and you see, do you believe kind of in this day of social media and fake news and bad news and things like that, are we in a time of kind of heightened negativity?
Well, I think we're at a time of heightened stimulation. And I think that brings with it some pretty negative side effects. When we are totally in alignment with who we are, then we're quite comfortable in the moment. But when we are some distance away from who we truly are, that gap, the bigger the gap, the more likelihood that we are going to be searching for addiction. But the most common addiction in the UK is not booze, as some people might think. It's actually busyness.
Yes.
And so some of my clients that present, I'm so busy, and actually, you know what? You haven't got a structure and system in your life where you're actually detoxifying the stress, the sadness, the resentment, the frustration. To be successful in life, you have got to get really comfortable with frustration. You have to get really comfortable with financial pressure, disappointment. These are not evidence that you're doing something wrong as an entrepreneur. This is just a normal daily grind of what it is to make life a success. And that stuff wears on your system. And so if you're just plowing ahead, being the tank, continuing in your spare time, just boozing or on your phone, or you're not taking that strain out of your system. And therefore, actually, we lose our sensitivity, we lose our clarity, we lose our objectivity. We don't have that grounded calmness, which inspires people to trust us. It has a really negative knock-on effect. And of course, if our lifestyle continues in that way, then we're putting a huge strain on our body too. So there are health complications. And, wealth without health is no wealth at all.
That's the biggest thing, is when people, because the grow, sell, retire concept is, you're never really going to retire, because people that are busy, and I hate that word completely, busy just means you don't know what you're doing. For me, it's action without a positive outcome. And it's really, and people say, oh, I'm busy, I can't do that. It's like everybody has lots of stuff. I mean, you have books, and you're working with patients, and you're running a business, and you've got family, and then they just say, I'm busy. Well, they get lost in that mire. So it's okay. Well, let's just get things back on track and writing down things. So are you a list man? Are you do you like having to-do lists even in your mind or in short forms? Are you a list person?
No, yeah. For me, lists are absolutely key. You write your list and then you prioritize your list. First thing I do, I get up in the morning, I look at my list and I order the priorities. I also really believe in picking, something unpleasant to do first. Unless I'm doing creative writing, then because I write all the scripts for the guided meditations that I create, and when I'm writing those, I need to be in a really light and positive place. So I tend to get up very early to do that work, and I'll just start with those. But aside from that, create a list, prioritize, and to the top of the list, ideally you do something you don't want to do. You get that sorted first, and that gives you the kind of the sensation that you're already winning. So it gives you the momentum for the rest of the day.
That's awesome. And I think, the one thing that I find the hardest, and I don't know if you do too, is that you get through your list of 5 things, and they could be really great things, and I don't celebrate it enough. Not celebrate it by going out and cheering and having fanfare, but just you actually did something that day. You just think, okay, now I've got to get my next list of 5 things done because I finished that one. So but some people don't get through 5 things, and but you never compare yourself to other people. You're just whatever you're trying to do.
I think it's a really good point. I think that one thing that when you're helping clients create change in their life is a thing called future pacing, where you take them forward in time, you get them to visualize what their life would be like and get them to enjoy what they've created. But then what you want to do is make sure that their life now is a reflection of that. Like it's got elements of that. It might not be as grand and as big or as lavish, but you want your week to have flavors of what your week would be like once you've become really successful. So the activities you would have and the foods you would have, you're getting some smaller version of it if it's not affordable, but you want your week to look and feel and be aligned with that future self. But the key to that is attaching the satisfaction of the end goal with the steps necessary to create it. And so absolutely, when you do that one thing, it might not have brought that big deal in, but if it's a fundamental part of bringing that big deal in, then you should celebrate that step with the same energy, because future you will be grateful for that step, And it's like, so we have to, and that's not just because it's good psychology to align yourself with the future that you want to create, but it's just a way of enjoying your life whilst it's happening. It's like, this is what it is, Enjoy the chess game of life. It's complicated and it's hard, and we're playing against an incredibly complex opponent. It's like, good, right? We don't want to play chess with someone who's just learned to play chess. We want to play chess with someone who's really good, so it stretches us every day. We have to really think strategically, because that's what creates the buzz, And it's like, life is an incredibly complicated chess game that we could, with the right attitude, really enjoy.
And sometimes you're going to have to fight the same battle 3 or 4 times to actually get to a win. And that's the challenge, is that, okay, we have to fight this again and fight this again and fight this again. But it's in that fight in our head. And I know you work a lot when you're talking about your meditations, are changing our vocabulary probably, and taking it from fight to, and so if somebody's very, maybe not negative, but aggressive with their language to themselves and that self-talk. What are some of the main words that you're finding that, like I just said, fight, and I know we've had chats before about that. What are some things people should work on? A couple of words that you're hearing a lot currently, like busy, like fight, and how are you helping people get to that next word or change of mindset?
Well, you're absolutely right. Our language patterns betray our beliefs, and our beliefs are key to our success. And a lot of people are fighting against a sense of inadequacy to prove to the world that they're amazing. And that never helps, So that's where you've got this struggle, and the people are over-delivering and not being boundaried. And they've got this, I'll go into work before my team are there, and I'll leave after my team are left. It's like, wow, if your business is structured really well, you don't need to be there. You don't need to, if you're paying your staff well and you're inspiring them well, they'll be really happy to be employed by you and really happy that they're making you money. You can be on the golf course. They don't need you to be there. The people that work for Virgin Music aren't frustrated that Richard Branson isn't in the office. He turns up once every 2 years. Had a friend that used to work there. Turns up once every 2 years on a Friday afternoon and gives them all champagne, tells them to forget the phones. They love him. He's never there. You don't need to be. So it's finding that balance. If you love being in your work, great. But some people have got this real warrior mentality, and I really like the archetypes. The archetypes represent these aspects of ourselves, ways of being that we can be. We can be the fool, we can be the lover, we can be the warrior. But you see, the warrior sleeps with a sword under his pillow. He sleeps with one eye open and his armor, his shield by his bed. Whereas the king, he was once a warrior, but now he sleeps in silk and he sleeps well. In fact, the kingdom's run so well, he doesn't even have guards on his door because his kingdom is well loved. And it's like, there's a power to calmness. There's a power to presence. When you meet or work with really successful people, they may be busy, but they don't have that haste. They're not fighting against the tide,
That's awesome. And it's a way to, you've gotten to your next level in your mentality and how you're feeling and how you've gotten to your stage. If you can not have to worry about and go on those holidays. And that's what people that take one holiday a month are amazing, because they can walk away from their business. They can walk away from the busy life and go and unplug and recharge and come back to it. And that makes for a great mentality, but people get scared of doing that because of what could get dropped.
Yeah. Yeah. But there's nothing worse than what I call the genius leader. The genius leader has all of the answers, right? So all of his team can't bear for them not to be there. And they come and they ask him questions and he gives them brilliant answers. It's a terrible idea. That enables ignorance. A great leader just asks leading questions and inspires their team to know that they've got it, that they can do it. What would you do? What do you think? How might it be great? And why might it be great to do this kind of advertising? You're still telling them to do this kind of advertising. You're still giving them the answer, but you're asking them to think through and collaborate with the creative process of understanding what's involved in making the business run. And so many leaders and business owners just don't bring in a kind of collaborative leadership, which means they work themselves out of the business. It all depends on them, and they're all, they're the truth holder and they're all knowing, and it's like, it doesn't need to be that way.
And actually, the funny thing is that it makes your business less valuable. And people don't understand that when your business is reliant on you as the figurehead and the name, if you can't spread the structure and the infrastructure, then your business is less valuable as a going concern. With you in it, it's perfect. But you take the battery out of it, then your business is not worth it.
Yeah, there's no exit strategy, right?
No exit strategy at all. But no, it makes it good. So you have 2 books, The Free Mind Experience, and do you go by hashtag what is? do you just go by what is, or you're down with the youths? So it's so do you when people are looking at this, how do they?
So The Free Mind Experience, if you search my name, Tom Fortis-Mayo, on Amazon, my books come up there. And but what I've been working on for I've been making guided meditations which enable people to go into their own inner world. I've been working with film composers for the last 10 years and real musicians. In the world of personal development, the first kind of meditation tapes I listened to were the music was awful. It was panpipes and dolphins, and so and in my work I realized the power of music to motivate, to inspire, but also to heal. But the music I was listening to or using with my clients was background music, really beautiful. I got access to the orchestras of the world and soundtracks for movies, but it was doing one thing. And what I needed music that when I said certain words, the music would change. I needed film score, just in the same way that a score of a film just nuances the journey and teases out of the viewer the right and appropriate emotion just to amplify the experience. And so I met with an amazing film composer over a decade ago. All this time we've been developing this way of combining music, meditation, and cutting edge kind of coaching and psychology to create these really beautiful experiences to help you reboot, refresh, improve your attitude, even do some powerful healing on yourself. And so just last month, we launched it as an app with 250 of these meditations. Some of them are just 5 minutes long, so they fit into your kind of daily life. So for me, mindset is everything. And this is a mindset management app. If you search on the app stores for Free Mind Meditations, that is the best place to get access to my best thinking of the last 20 years and what it is. And it's all about an app to help you enjoy success and happiness. So mindset management for success and happiness.
That's really cool. And so you've encapsulated this, you've changed the kind of into our own mental mind movies with amazing scores. We're kind of the actor and the star in this thing. And so if you're talking about that, and to keep you honed and keep you guided in the right direction, what type of things are you're reading right now? What do you typically read for a bit of fun and a bit of business?
So for me, the truth is, quite a long time ago, I realized that that you can get caught up with a lot of different theories, and it's always good to kind of get, refresh your thinking and get new ideas. But for me, what I like to read more than anything, there are three pillars in my work: peace, power, and purpose. And in pillar one, peace is all about emotional intelligence. I love reading about that, learning about that. And then pillar two, it's all about success psychology, what it is to bring out the best in ourselves. So any books around mindset management is fascinating. But my favorite, which is in pillar three, is all about oneness philosophy. When we can understand the interconnected nature of us and others and how life works, for me, that's the real bedrock of being able to stay peaceful. And so my greatest inspirations for that is the kind of Indian meditation masters. So there are some amazing books out there that help you really understand the true nature of what it is to be human. And those are my favorites, So I guess the top of the list there is a book called I Am That by a teacher called Nisargadatta Maharaj. And it's just an absolute game changer for understanding the true nature of how we think and why we think the way that we do. So if I was going to give any recommendation, I think that it's a dense work. It's one of those things where you read a paragraph and you need to sit with it for a little while, but it kind of seeps in and it really helps you think and feel differently.
Perfect. And then, so besides the Free Mind Meditation app, is there any other technology that's kind of helping you either jazz up your day or unplug or do something that's to make your life more organized?
I'd like to share one thing, which I think is a total game changer. And it's so simple, but it's really challenging exercise. And so for me, one of the things that happens when you start to enjoy more success is you get a lot more offers, you get a lot more invites, you get a lot more collaborative possibilities. And but also when you're starting out, you're in speculation mode, right? So you're willing to have any meeting, you're willing to have any networking event, and actually you're not always necessarily that discerning about what will truly serve my life's mission, And I think there's a lot of talk about the power of now, which is all about being present and mindful. But for me, the key to success is the power of no. It's being able to discern what is actually going to help me be more successful. Let's step away from a lot of the speculation, a lot of the just meeting on the basis that something might stir. I still do those meetings when I get a strong intuitive sense that there could be some benefit. But when I look back on my first, years of being in business, I wasted a lot of time with a lot of people on a lot of possibilities that were never really aligned with my greatest end goal. So this technique, you take out a piece of paper, and it works really well if you do this with someone because you have to be disciplined, right? It's a short exercise, it only takes like a few minutes, but it can be easy to cheat. So it's good and it's fun to do it with a friend or a partner. So you take out a piece of paper and a pen, and across the whole A4 piece of paper, you do 6 lines vertically and 6 lines horizontally. What you want to end up with is a grid, a table of basically 25 boxes. You could print it out. You could print out an Excel sheet to do that, or you can just do it hand-drawn. It's fine hand-drawn. Then what you want to do is you want to write the title, and you want to fill up all the 25 boxes with all the things you're passionate about. Or that you're doing. This is your revenue streams. This is your projects. This is your possible projects. This is some of your, fantasy ideas or current things you're working on. Okay, and and this could also include like friends that you want to see potentially, right? I had enough things for it to be just work based, but and so you fill up your 25 boxes. And then your friend has a stopwatch on their phone or whatever, and they're going to give you 10 seconds. And in those 10 seconds, what you have to do without fail is cross 5 things out.
Cross 5 things out, okay.
Just cross 5 things out, right? And you're saying, what am I doing? What's it for? What am I going to be doing? And essentially, the energy is you have to just cross 5 things out that you will just not have in your life, right? And it's very uncomfortable the first time you do it. But the plan is you do it at least 3 times. So you're cutting out 15 things. But you can also do it actually 4 times. So you're with just 5 projects. But you can do it to the level of 3 and notice what your final 10 are. And then you could circle those and then do another round. And I tell you what, the last 2 rounds is actually painful. It's weird. You're just putting a line through a title on a piece of paper, but you start to realize what am I really passionate about and what's most valuable to me. And that level of discernment, for the people listening, I really encourage you to look at what you're doing and to be really clear. Does this really serve my end goal? And if it doesn't, just stop. It doesn't serve anyone. If you're overgiving and you're overdoing, you're just going to lose balance. And if you lose balance, you lose everything. So just bring it back. Do less. And, there's this great line, that I cherish and it inspires me. It's like how you do one thing is how you do everything. And actually, when I was learning guitar, I was trying to do loads of different things, and I just decided I was just going to just pull it back and just make sure that everything I was doing sounded good. Even if I was just playing one chord, I just wanted to make it sound really, really good. And on the back of that, you can build it up. And the other thing I want to leave your listeners with is a line that my old business partner used to say, which is 95% is halfway there. And most people they're never discerning enough, so they can never quite apply themselves fully to anything. And actually, you find your one thing. Like I knew deep down in my heart years ago when I discovered you can use music and meditation in this way, I knew deep in my bones, this is a winner. And really, all I've been doing since then is working on that. Lots of other things to keep me afloat in the meantime, but that's been my passion project. I'm certain it's going to be huge. And I brought my absolute best to that. And haven't compromised at all, not on the quality of those recordings. And I know it will pay dividends. So, for me, it's like do less, but do what you do impeccably.
Awesome, Tom. Thank you so much for coming on the show today. There's been some amazing nuggets in there, especially the funny thing is, as you gather pace towards the end of a show, everything kind of, all the nuggets start to come out. It's like you've now gotten to that extra 5%. So we were halfway there at minute 50 or minute 26, and then all of a sudden, boom! All the other 4 minutes just came out of magic nugget. Oh my gosh! Calm down! Don't give too much away. No, it's great.
Well,
so the best place for everybody to find you. The best place for everybody to find you, or actually. To find the project is even more important.
Well, the best website is freemindhub.com.
freemindhub.com. We'll put that in the show notes. But Tom Fortes Mayer, thank you so much for coming on the show today and helping us rethink and talk, maybe just change wavelength a little bit.
My absolute pleasure. Anytime, Bart. Really good speaking to you.
Thanks for joining us on Grow, Sell, and Retire. For more information, tools, or to book one of our team members to work with your team, business, or to speak at your event or conference, visit bartdaltonconsulting.com or email contact@bartdaltonconsulting.com. Buy the book True Gravity on Amazon. If you want to work for the rest of your life, that is your business. If you don't, that is ours.